Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode of WombWise. We're so glad you're here.
Yes, welcome.
This is where we aim to guide you with warmth and real expertise through the whole journey. Fertility, IVF, conscious conception.
It's a path that can feel, well, pretty overwhelming sometimes, can't it?
Definitely. And we want to be that trusted companion, whether you're listening in India or really anywhere around the globe.
And we're here to offer clear, reliable information and just, empathetic support.
Now, WombWise is brought to you by Fertilope. They're a fertility concierge service based in Ahmedabad, India.
Ahmedabad's actually becoming quite known for its world-class IVF care, hasn't it?
It really has. And people might wonder, what's a fertility concierge? Well, Fertilope is essentially there to make the whole process smoother, less stressful.
Think of them as your personal IVF guide. They help hopeful parents everywhere, starting with matching you to the right doctor, the right clinic, for your specific needs.
Which is huge, right? That first step can feel like climbing a mountain.
Absolutely. Having that expert guidance right from the start makes such a difference.
And it's not just the medical matching. Fertilope handles the practical things, too, the things that add stress, like scheduling appointments, coordinating treatments.
Even arranging comfortable long-stay accommodation if you need to travel for care, which many people do.
Yeah, exactly. And they think about nourishment, too, helping ensure you get nutritious meals, which is so important during this time.
But what really stands out, I think, is their whole approach. It's holistic. They get that this affects your body, yes, but also your mind, your spirit. So they offer things like yoga, garb, sanskar, which is a wonderful traditional Indian practice for pregnancy wellness and professional counseling, too. Really valuable support.
And importantly, they really try to make this dream more accessible. They work to find suitable economical options, but without ever compromising on the quality of care.
That's key.
Their whole thing is being your advocate, getting you the right care in the right place with the right support. It all comes together.
So as we start talking about IVF today, just know that WombWise, with Fertilope behind it, is here for you.
Okay, so for this first episode, we really wanted to tackle that fundamental question. What is IVF? A beginner's guide to the journey.
Yeah, our aim today is just to demystify it, give you a clear, understandable overview of what IVF actually involves.
Perfect. So let's start right there. For someone totally new to this, what is in vitro fertilization, IVF? Lay it out for us.
Okay. Simply put, IVF is a type of assisted reproductive technology, RT, you might hear it called.
Okay.
And the core idea is that the fertilization, the moment the sperm meets the egg, happens outside the body, in a specialized lab.
Right. So in vitro means in glass, basically, like a petri dish.
Exactly. Instead of that meeting happening naturally inside the fallopian tubes, it happens in this very controlled, monitored environment.
Okay, that makes sense. You're taking that natural process and giving it a helping hand in the lab.
Precisely. And then once an egg is fertilized and it starts developing into an embryo, that resulting embryo is carefully transferred back into the woman's uterus. And the goal, the hope, is that it implants and leads to a pregnancy.
Got it. Okay, that's a really clear starting point. So what about the actual process? People hear IVF and imagine, well, lots of things. Can we walk through the typical steps?
Absolutely. It's definitely a multi-step process, a coordinated series of stages. It usually kicks off with something called ovarian stimulation.
Stimulation. Okay, what does that involve?
This means using hormone injections, usually for about 8 to 14 days, give or take.
Hormone injections.
Yeah.
Like the ones the body makes anyway.
Similar, yes. They contain hormones like FSH, which your body uses naturally to mature eggs each month. But the dose is higher in IVF.
Oh, okay. Why higher?
The goal is to encourage the ovaries to produce multiple mature eggs in that cycle instead of just the usual one.
Right. More eggs means more chances later on, I guess.
Exactly. More eggs increase the potential for developing healthy embryos down the line.
Okay, so the ovaries are stimulated. You have multiple mature eggs. What's next?
The next stage is egg retrieval. This is actually a minor surgical procedure.
Surgical. Does that mean?
It's usually done under light sedation, so you're comfortable, maybe asleep. The specialist uses an ultrasound probe, typically inserted vaginally, to guide a very thin needle.
Okay.
And that needle goes carefully into the ovaries to collect the mature eggs from the follicles, those little fluid-filled sacs where they grew.
Wow. Delicate work.
Very. And once those eggs are collected, they go straight to the embryology lab.
The lab again. And this is where the fertilization actually happens.
Yes, this is the
Right.
in vitro part. There are generally two ways this can happen. One is conventional insemination.
Conventional.
Yeah, where the eggs and a prepared sperm sample are simply placed together in a dish and, left to do their thing. Nature takes its course, hopefully.
Yeah. And the other way?
The other method is called ICSI, which stands for intracytoplasmic sperm injection.
ICSI. Sounds technical.
It is a bit more hands-on. With ICSI, an embryologist selects a single healthy sperm and, using a microscopic needle, injects it directly into the mature egg.
Wow. Why would they do ICSI instead of just putting them together?
Good question. ICSI is often used if there are issues with the sperm, maybe low count or motility, or if fertilization didn't happen well in a previous IVF attempt.
Right, so it gives things an extra push when needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So fertilization happens either conventionally or via ICSI. And then what?
Then those fertilized eggs are officially called embryos.
Ah, embryos. Okay. And they don't get transferred straight away. They need some time to grow first. They're placed in special incubators in the lab.
Incubators. Like tiny artificial wombs.
Sort of. They mimic the conditions inside the body temperature atmosphere very carefully. And the embryos are cultured there for usually 3 to 5 days.
And someone's watching them?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Highly skilled embryologists monitor them closely, checking how they're dividing and growing. They're looking for signs of healthy development, good quality embryos.
It's pretty amazing to think about that early development happening right there in the lab.
It really is remarkable science. So after a few days of culture, the next big step is the embryo transfer.
Okay, putting the embryo back.
Correct. Based on their development, the embryologist and doctor select the best quality embryo, or sometimes more than one, for transfer.
How many do they transfer? Is it always just one?
That's a really important discussion between the patient and the doctor. It depends on factors like age, embryo quality, medical history. The goal is usually a healthy single pregnancy, so often just one is transferred, especially in younger patients.
Right, to reduce the risk of multiples.
Exactly. And the transfer itself, it's usually quite straightforward, not really surgery.
Oh.
A thin, flexible tube called a catheter is gently passed through the cervix into the uterus, and the selected embryo is carefully released inside.
Okay. Sounds relatively simple compared to the retrieval.
It typically is, and then comes the wait.
Ah, yes. The famous 2-week wait. What happens at the end of that?
About 2 weeks after the transfer, a pregnancy test is done. Usually it's a blood test.
A blood test. Why not just a home test?
The blood test is more sensitive and accurate. It measures the level of the hormone HCG, that's the pregnancy hormone. It confirms if the embryo has successfully implanted and pregnancy has begun.
And that 2-week wait, I imagine that's pretty intense emotionally.
It really can be. It's a time filled with a lot of hope and anxiety for most people.
Absolutely. Wow, okay. That's a fantastic step-by-step breakdown. It sounds like, well, a journey, truly, filled with science and hope.
It is.
And for everyone listening, picturing your own path, remember Fertilope. They're based in Ahmedabad, India, a real hub for excellent fertility care now, and they act as your personal IVF concierge.
Right. Guiding you to find that ideal doctor and clinic, handling the appointments, arranging comfy long-stay places if you need them, ensuring good meals.
And crucially, offering that emotional and wellness support, too. Yoga, Garb Sanskar, counseling. They're really there from that very first question you have, right through to your final visit.
It's about providing that care, clarity, and compassion that everyone deserves on this journey.
Absolutely. Fertilope's whole approach is the right care, the right place, the right support together. If this sounds like something that could help you, we really encourage you to visit fertilope.com. See how they can help you start your journey.
It's so vital to remember, too, that IVF isn't just a series of medical steps. It's a deeply emotional and, physically demanding experience as well.
Oh, definitely. People talk about the roller coaster of emotions, don't they? Hope, excitement, anxiety, maybe disappointment sometimes.
Yeah.
It's all normal.
Completely normal. And that's why having a really strong support system is just crucial. Your partner, family, close friends, people you can lean on.
Talking about it helps, doesn't it? Not keeping it all bottled up.
Immensely. And beyond personal networks, professional support like counseling or joining support groups can be invaluable. Connecting with others who get it.
People who are going through the same thing. That shared understanding.
Exactly. And don't forget self-care. Prioritizing your own well-being is so important. Things like gentle yoga, meditation, whatever helps you manage stress and stay calm.
Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's actually part of the process.
Absolutely integral. Now, shifting gears slightly, but still very practical, we need to talk about the financial side.
Ah, yes. IVF treatment is, well, It's known to be a significant investment.
It can be, yes.
Yeah.
And the costs can really vary quite a bit.
Depends on the clinic, where it is.
Exactly. Clinic, location, what specific procedures you might need based on your fertility issues. It all adds up differently for everyone.
What's the advice there?
Really, it's essential to do your homework beforehand. Research the costs, understand what's included, look into any insurance coverage you might have, or payment plans the clinic offers.
Planning ahead financially can reduce one source of stress, at least.
For sure. Feeling prepared financially makes a difference.
Okay, another big area, success rates. IVF offers so much hope, but it's important to have realistic expectations, right?
That's a really key point. Success rates aren't uniform. They depend on many things.
Like age. That comes up a lot.
Age is probably the biggest factor, yes. Generally, younger women, say under 35, tend to have higher success rates per cycle than women over 40. That's just a biological reality related to egg quality and quantity.
And the reason for infertility matters too, I suppose.
Definitely. The underlying cause, the quality of the eggs and sperm involved, even the specific clinic's expertise and lab quality, it all plays a role.
So while it's a wonderful technology, it's not a guarantee, especially not always on the first try.
Exactly. It's wise to be prepared, emotionally and practically, that it might take more than one cycle for some people to achieve pregnancy.
That's important to hear. Managing hope with realism.
Finding that balance is key to navigating the journey with resilience, I think.
Okay. Now, for listeners who want to learn even more, maybe do some reading on their own time. We have a few recommendations.
Yes, some really helpful books out there. First up, there's It Starts with the Egg by Rebecca Fett.
Oh, I've heard of that one. It's about egg quality.
Primarily, yes.
Yeah.
It delves into the science and gives quite practical, evidence-based advice on lifestyle changes, nutrition, supplements, things that might potentially improve egg quality and overall fertility. It really emphasizes how things like diet and even environmental factors can play a role.
Sounds useful for taking some proactive steps. What else?
Then there's Get a Life, His and Hers Survival Guide to IVF. It's written by a couple, Rosie Bray and Richard Mackney.
His and hers perspective.
Yeah, which is great. It's very candid, sometimes funny, about the emotional ups and downs, the practical stuff from both sides. Really relatable for couples going through it together. Highlights communication,
That sounds like a good one for partners to read together. And one more.
For a really comprehensive overview, there's IVF and Beyond for Dummies by Corinne Hammerberg.
For dummies, books are usually pretty thorough.
This one is too. It covers the medical side, emotional aspects, legal things, financial considerations, even what happens after treatment. It's a good all-around reference.
Excellent suggestions. Reading can be empowering, can it? Getting more information.
Definitely. And beyond books, there are also some practical products designed specifically to make the day-to-day IVF stuff a bit easier.
Oh, like what?
Well, there's something called the Essential IVF Support Kit by Vitro.
A kit? What's in it?
It's designed for organization and comfort. Usually has things like a caddy for your meds and supplies, a shot station to lay everything out for injections,
Oh, handy.
a travel case for meds, hot and cold packs, which can be nice for injection sites or just comfort, and even a slim little fridge box for keeping medications cool.
That sounds really thoughtfully put together.
Another option is the Gandy IVF Care Kit. Similar idea, focusing on practical help.
What does that one include?
Often things like a heating pad, some find that helps warm certain medications before injecting a cooling pad for numbing the skin.
Oh, shot targets, which are little guides for injection spots, a hands-free belt to hold supplies while you're doing the injection, maybe even a massage ball for tension, little things that can make the routine smoother.
Yeah, those daily injections are a big part of it for many. And anything else?
For those who like to journal and track things, there's the IVF Pregnancy Journal by Love Plus Wild.
A journal specifically for IVF.
Yeah. It provides prompts and space to write about appointments, how you're feeling, track medications, and then continue into early pregnancy if things go well. It becomes a really personal keepsake of the journey.
Lovely idea. So books for knowledge, kits for practical help, journals for reflection, great resources.
Hopefully helpful things for people to explore. Now, should we tackle some of those questions we always seem to get about IVF?
Yes. Let's do a quick round of FAQs. First one, and it's a big one, is IVF painful? People worry about this.
Understandably. Generally, the answer is mostly no. Well, yes, the egg retrieval is a procedure. It's done under sedation, so discomfort is usually minimal, maybe some cramping afterwards.
And the injections.
The injections themselves use very fine needles. There might be some temporary soreness, maybe a bit of bruising or slight swelling at the site, But most people don't describe IVF overall as being significantly painful. It's manageable.
Okay, good to know. Next question. What is the success rate of IVF? We touched on this, but it's always asked.
Right. And the honest answer is it varies a lot. Age is the biggest factor. As we said, younger women generally have higher rates per cycle.
But it also depends on the reason for infertility, the clinic.
Exactly. Your specific cause of infertility, egg and sperm quality, the clinic's lab and expertise, it all contributes. The best thing is to talk directly to your doctor about your individual chances.
Okay, how about, are there risks associated with IVF?
Yes, like any medical treatment, there are potential risks, though serious ones are quite rare.
Such as?
The main ones discussed are multiple pregnancies, twins, triplets, which carry higher risks for mother and babies. There's also OHSS, ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome. It's an over-response to the stimulation drugs, can cause bloating, discomfort, sometimes needs monitoring, and very small risks associated with the retrieval procedure itself, like bleeding or infection, but again, rare.
So doctors discuss these beforehand?
Oh, absolutely. Thoroughly. Informed consent is key.
Okay. Another common one. How many IVF cycles are usually needed?
The million-dollar question. It's so individual. Some lucky people are successful on their very first try.
But not everyone.
No. For others, it might take 2, 3, or sometimes more cycles. It depends on response to treatment, underlying issues, embryo quality, lots of variables.
Good to keep in mind, clinics sometimes offer packages for multiple cycles, right?
Yes, many do. That's something worth asking about during the financial planning stage.
All right, last FAQ for today. Can lifestyle affect IVF success?
Yes, definitely. A healthy lifestyle is generally recommended.
Like what specific?
Maintaining a healthy weight, eating a balanced diet, getting regular moderate exercise, avoiding smoking completely, limiting alcohol, managing stress. These things can positively influence outcomes.
So taking care of your overall health is beneficial.
Absolutely. Your doctor might give you specific advice tailored to you too.
Fantastic. That covers a lot of the key questions people have starting out. Thanks for shedding light on all that.
My pleasure. It's a complex topic, but hopefully breaking it down helps people feel a bit more informed and, empowered.
It really does. And that, believe it or not, brings us to the end of our very first WombWise episode.
Time flew.
It did. We really hope this beginner's guide to IVF has been helpful, maybe answered some questions, and made the whole thing feel a little less mysterious.
And looking ahead, in our next episode, we're going to tackle who really needs IVF? Myths versus reality.
Ooh, interesting. Busting some myths.
Hopefully. We'll look at common misconceptions and talk about when IVF is genuinely the recommended path.
Sounds great. So make sure you stay tuned to WombWise for more guidance and support on your fertility journey. If you found today useful, please do subscribe. That way you won't miss future episodes.
And check out the episode description. We'll put links to the books and products we mentioned there.
Yes, definitely explore those if they sounded helpful.
And finally, if you have more personal questions or you're thinking about how Fertilope might be able to support your specific journey, please do connect with them through LinkedIn. We've put a direct link right there in the episode description to make it easy.
Perfect. Thank you so much again for joining us today on WombWise. We're really looking forward to continuing this conversation. Remember, you're not alone.
Wishing everyone all the very best.
WombWise podcast disclaimer. Okay, just a quick reminder, everyone. The information in this podcast is for general informational purposes only. It's really not a substitute for professional medical advice from your own doctor or fertility specialist.
Absolutely. Always consult your qualified healthcare provider before making any decisions about your treatment or your health.
Fertilope and us, the hosts, we don't endorse specific treatments or clinics unless we clearly state that. And remember, every single fertility journey is unique.
What works for one person might not be right for another. Medical information also changes over time.
So by listening, you agree that Fertilope isn't liable for outcomes based on this info. Please use your own discretion and always talk to your doctor.